It's all about Knight Rider when I have the huge pleasure of talking to the lovely Rebecca Holden, also known as April Curtis on Knight Rider. Our conversation took place at the Southern Nights Atlanta SKA event in July of 2022, and I want to say thank you so much to Rebecca for doing this, and of course I hope that you will enjoy this look behind the scenes of our favorite show. Rebecca Holden.
Yes.
Welcome to
Jacob,
this conversation.
Thank you very much. It's so nice to be here with you.
Yeah, I am so honored and so happy that we can do this.
I'm thrilled that we can do this too and talk to all of your friends in Denmark and all over the world who might see it.
Exactly. There are so many Knight Rider fans.
It's amazing, isn't it?
All over the world, and they want to know more about how it was to be on Knight Rider, what happened, and yeah.
It truly is amazing when I think back, and I worked on so many shows, and it's fun, and we have a great time on set, and all the camaraderie with the cast, and it's wonderful time for us. But when you send something through the air, out into the ethers, you never know how it's going to be received on the other end or how it's going to resonate with viewers. And we would have never thought, I think, back then, that it would have accumulated the mass audience that it has, and that it would mean so much to people. It means a lot to people, I think, individually, whether it's, of course, everybody loves the kit car, and all the guys that build the kit car, they have so much fun. And the theme of the show, I think, resonated with many viewers. One man can make a difference. I hear the most amazing stories from fans, how that theme resonated with them and inspired them to go out and make a difference in the world. And that, to me, is, if you can be a positive influence, especially in the world today, that's just a remarkable thing.
Exactly.
So it's just a joy and an honor and a privilege to have been a part of that. But the other thing is all the friendships that have been forged through this, what has become the Knight Rider hobby.
Yeah.
And all the people who've united and come together once the internet came about, because it really, wasn't that huge a thing back when the show was actually airing. And so for people to connect the way that they have, and like you said, not just in the United States, but all over the world, and it's, lessen the distance between people when they can connect over a similar hobby, a similar interest, a similar love, and share their experiences and how the show affected them, and guys talk to each other, and girls, I must say, about their building of the replicas, and to bring people together in this positive a way. It's unifying, and it's truly truly remarkable for me that I had a small part in all of this. So it's an honor, and it's a thrill, and it's terribly gratifying.
I think there are many who could say that you play more than just a small part in it.
Well, thank you. That's great.
So, Rebecca, where was Rebecca Holden back in 1983 when you got the part in Knight Rider? How did you get it, and what was your everyday life like at that point?
Okay, well, I grew up in Texas, and I never dreamed of a career in front of a camera. That would have been the farthest thing from my mind. Music was my life. I was in all the musical productions, all the musicals and the plays, and live performing. I studied piano from the time I was 7. I was in all the choirs and the madrigal singers, and I played the piano accompanying for various groups and orchestra members and band members and music was everything to me, but I loved live performing. I was continuing my music studies in New York when I was discovered by a talent agent and put under contract for Breck Shampoo commercial.
Yeah.
And that led to so many more commercials. Ivory Soap and Dentine and Kellogg's and Chevrolet, car commercials and cereal commercials. And Aaron Spelling, who was a very prolific Hollywood producer, I think he had 7 TV shows on the air at one time, sort of like Glenn Larson, who was the creator of Knight Rider. But Aaron Spelling saw one of my commercials that aired on the Super Bowl. And he contacted my agent, and they sent me out to the West Coast, and I started doing so many different television shows, episodic TV, also many sitcoms, because I love doing comedy.
Yeah.
And I had worked a lot for NBC and for Universal, you know, big shows like Magnum PI and those kind of shows. And so when the role came up on Knight Rider, they called me because they knew of my work and asked me to come in and do a scene with David. And I did, and they wanted to see how the chemistry was. And we all just laughed so much and had the best time. And there was just, you know when it's right, you know. And then they said, I remember they asked me, can you look less glamorous and more studious? And I said, will this help? And I pulled my own glasses out of my purse and put my glasses on, and that immediately became, you know, an aspect of April's character.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and by the time I had gotten back home, I already had a call from my agent saying they would love to have you for the role, and I was delighted and went to work.
Fantastic, fantastic. What are your thoughts then on being the technician? You know, you could say the glasses probably turns down the level of glamour a bit and turns the level of technician up a bit.
Well,
but
I
did you
never
have any
thought
thoughts?
of myself as a glamorous girl. I was always the nerd. I was always the bookworm. You could always find me if you were looking for me, if my mom was looking for me to do a chore. I was always, you know, in a tree with an apple and a book.
Okay.
So I was always a very studious student and straight A student in school, but technology, however, was not my forte. You know, music was what I really concentrated on, focused on. But the studious part was April was very much like me in that regard. I think our characters very similar. We're very loyal to our friends and colleagues. She was very resourceful. She was very imaginative and creative in all the things that she invented for Kit to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I say, she was very loyal and protective of her colleagues, you know, always very protective of Michael. And I'm that way with my friends, very loyal and protective. I think, you know, she had great integrity and moral standards and a willingness to stand up and for her principles, you know. And so I liked her very much. I liked the character. I respected her, and I thought she was a wonderful role model for young girls.
And,
you know?
and very compassionate.
Yes.
I think that's also one of the things that I've come across and have noticed.
Yes.
You in many of the episodes, there's someone who needs to be comforted, and probably is in need of some good care, and you're there to give it to them. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I thought she was a very good role model for young women, and that she was operating in a man's world, and she wasn't intimidated by that at all.
Exactly.
And she wasn't intimidated, you know, to stand up when she thought, you know, something needed to change. And I love April. So it's you know, to operate in a man's world and still maintain your femininity, and you know, stand on principle and moral codes.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a good thing for young women to see on camera. You know, because television has an enormous capacity for influencing young minds, that's why we have to be so conscious of what we put on the airwaves,
Exactly.
because it can influence either negatively or positively.
Yeah.
And so we have to be very aware of what we put out there.
Yeah. So talking a bit about how it was being on set, being on Knight Rider.
Mm-hmm.
How was your normal working schedule? Every day, every week? How did that work?
Every day is different. We shot an episode in 7 days, so it's very different than, say, a sitcom, where you do table read, and then you do blocking, and then you do camera blocking, and then on the last day you shoot before a live audience, and then they switch the audience so that they haven't heard the jokes before and it's fresh, and then you do it again and in front of a live audience, and then after that you'll do various pickup shots until you've got it all in the can. But this was film, and so it takes a little longer, and days can be long.
Yeah.
But then again, you don't necessarily work every day, so it's just a different shooting schedule.
Yeah. But did you have a normal time where you came in in the morning?
It was always very early mornings for makeup and hair, usually 5:36. Yeah, early days. Yeah, and it may go a long day.
Yeah. So how was it then on a normal day? Would you be in front of camera all day, or would you be in front of camera for maybe one or two scenes, and then you could retreat to your trailer? Or how
There's a lot of waiting in film.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. Yeah. And then shooting a scene is, you do the master shot, and then the camera will turn around, and then you may have your close up, and then it may be an over the shoulder shot on you while they do David's close up or Devin's close up. It's just all about how the director wants to design the thing. But you do the same scene in from various locations as far as where the camera is situated.
Yeah. So okay. How about when you were on set or on location?
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe your period, your year on Knight Rider? Were you most on a stage?
Okay.
On
I think I know what you're asking. Yes.
Yeah.
Many times we shot on location.
Yeah.
Like we were at the mansion where the Flag Foundation is, and we're out in the lawn or whatever. That's on location. Every time we were in the semi, that was on a set at Universal. Yeah. So when I was working on the car, most of the time, we were on a set and there was really just one of the cars that was fully outfitted with a full dash and so on. There were a lot of cars that were built for stunts, or that would hide the driver from the passenger side or from the driver's side or from the front, so Kit was driving by himself. There were stunts, I'm sure after talking to Jack Gill, you know about the ones that were built mainly for the jumps and so on too. So there were various cars that did various things. Now I actually got to drive Kit once.
You did.
I was the only girl I think that ever got to drive Kit.
In Nightmares.
That's different than driving in real life, because you have to stay in camera and hit your mark with a car. So I was focused on doing exactly what the director told me to do, and I think it was after the scene was over and he yelled cut and got it and all that, and I went, I actually drove Kit.
So you were
a special moment.
You were usually with the hero car, because it would not normally be the hero car with a flashing dash. The
very first show I ever shot, I think, was the one where we were out on the beach,
Yeah,
the famous one with the little pink shorts.
Yeah, Return to Cadiz. Yeah,
And we were out on the beach on location with that car.
I think that definitely got the male audience attention. So brilliant.
Yeah.
So
I don't think that was the one that aired first.
No,
but it was the one we shot first.
Yeah.
In fact, that was my first day on the set. Was that scene?
Okay.
My very first,
So, did you ever have any not concerns, but did you ever confront wardrobe with the clothes they chose for you, or did you have a say in the clothes you wore on the show?
I'm pretty flexible and pretty easy. You know, I'm an easygoing person, so whatever they came up with, I mean, if they gave me choices between would you like this or this, you know, I'd express my opinion if they asked for it. But most of the time they came up with cute stuff, and I loved all the various colored jumpsuits that she wore.
Yeah. That was also a trademark.
Yeah, and so they kind of created a little style for April in that regard.
So,
and the various hairstyles, you know, with the pigtails and the this, that, They had fun with her.
Yeah, there was a lot to work with.
Yeah, and colorful. So
exactly. So, talking a bit about the scripts rewrites, how did you experience that? Because usually you would probably get more than one script.
Often, you know, I'm a fast study, so that was good because, you know, sometimes I remember, well, you know, you get your basic white script, and then the second draft you might have pink pages, and then blue pages, and then green pages, so you know where the changes are as it's updated. But there were times, I have to tell you, that I would have had my whole thing memorized, and a lot of April's dialogue was big, you know, made up words, you know, for whatever the latest kit invention was. And I would have it all learned and ready to go, and I'd get in the makeup chair, and for whatever reason, maybe the prop guy couldn't make the trick happen that they had invented in the script. They couldn't make it reality, so they came up with something completely different, and they would hand me all new pages in the makeup chair.
Okay, that's
so
you had
and there would be these long, complicated, you know, words that they were made up, so that's not your normal vocabulary, and I'd have to memorize pretty quickly. So sometimes it was a challenge.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Then you go, oh, it's a good thing I'm a quick study, because otherwise today would have been difficult.
Yeah. We talked about the studio with the semi studio. But there was also a studio with the headquarters, with Devon's office.
The Flag Foundation?
Yeah, the Flag Foundation. Yeah.
Oh, Devon's office.
Yeah.
Devon's office was also a set.
Yeah.
The inside of the office. Yeah.
How is it different shooting in a set compared to shooting on location?
Well, isn't that the magic of acting? That becomes home.
Okay.
That set becomes as if it were the real thing.
Yeah.
That's in your imagination and in your mind, that it's the real thing. So just like any artificial situation, which any scene is, you make it real.
Yeah.
And you think of it as real.
Yeah. Wonderful. Did you ever, through the episodes, have any thoughts or go to the producer or the director talking about, shouldn't April do this or do that, or could we take the character in a bit other direction?
We had a lot of different writers. When you're doing a show like that, you do have a lot of different writers, and I think when an actor is doing a regular role that's week after week after week, we come to know our own characters. So you may give a little different twist to a line or make her more like April, and I think that would just naturally happen when we were working in the scene. I know how April would say something. I had a little fun with her, you know. I would do banter with David so that we had a little, you know, fun going.
Yeah. And
that's just my nature.
So
I think
fun and chemistry.
Yeah, and I think you bring whatever is inside of you. If she becomes your other persona, you bring what is naturally in you as April to the scene that day. Yeah, and sometimes it just happens. And if the director allows us to do that, it's you know, magic can happen sometimes.
Yeah, it does, and it does often on television. So, how was your relationship with the different directors and producers on the show? How was your dealings with them?
How was my what?
What should I say? Your relation to directors and producers.
I am very aware that the director is the commander on set, and I'm very respectful of that.
Yeah.
I bring whatever I bring to the role. I show up on time, knowing my lines, ready to be flexible, because it's ultimately the director's vision, or maybe David. I mean, it was David's show. And maybe David has a vision that he possesses that particular day about that. I am always aware that it's my job to make everyone else's job easy. You know, I'm flexible and willing to go wherever the input says we go. And there's nothing more collaborative than a film or TV set. You know, it's a collaborative effort from start to finish, and I'm very respectful of that.
Yeah. It's a common goal of doing something great.
Yes. To allow for everyone's collaboration and be willing to contribute.
Yeah. How about your relationship with David?
Mm-hmm.
You attended his 70th birthday.
I was just at his birthday.
Yeah.
Yes. It was a wonderful party, and I got to meet his sisters for the first time, whom I had never met before, and his daughter was there, and you know, and I wrote David a note afterward, and I told him. Just to thank him. I mean, there was such a big party and so many people coming and going, and we took pictures on the red carpet with the kid car and so on. But I wanted to just tell him that I'm so happy for him to see him looking so happy and content and at peace, and you know, he's married and settled, and he has a sweet, darling wife, and I'm just so happy to see him at this beautiful stage of his life. And you know, the show and David himself personally has brought joy to so many people. And by doing so, he's truly made a difference in the world. I know he's made a difference in my life.
Well, I can easily say he's made a difference in mine as well.
Yes, and we would not be together today. No. We would not have met and forged a new friendship if not for Knight Rider. And it's wonderful. I get choked up. It's wonderful to see events like this happen. And I must say thank you to Mark Pewitt, who has this event year after year, that so many fans have come together and truly formed such wonderful friendships. And they're really a Knight Rider family in the best sense of that word. And they're there for each other, and they bonded over these years, and it's just such a special and remarkable thing to see.
Because
you know, everyone in their own individual lives goes through things in life. A lot of our guys have gone through some real tragedies this past year. The losses of their wives, their fathers, their loved ones, and to know that there is this community of friends who truly care about each other.
And support each other.
And a place where people can go to grieve and to find comfort and that true loyalty and friendship. I mean, that a TV show could result in this kind of family is truly very special thing. And it's it's a wonderful thing to see.
I can say that I'm here at the Southern Nights Atlanta for the first time, and exactly what you described.
You've witnessed it firsthand.
Yes, I did, because I was.
And you'll see a lot more of it tomorrow. I know we just got here. But
coming here, I was of course excited. What is it? But it is one big family, and people who have gone through very difficult times in the past years. They come here and they get support from their friends. So it's truly remarkable. It is beautiful. So if we return to the show and to David, and what was he like when you shot Knight Rider?
David is bigger than life. You know, he has that bigger than life personality, and I don't think anyone could have played the Knight Rider but David. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
And I see him take the time to meet children and fans that look up to him, and various charitable organizations like Make-A-Wish and those things, and he always had time for the kids. And
he is.
I admire his generosity and spirit.
It is one man can make a difference.
Yes, that's true. And he is the living example of that.
When I talk to other actors who's been on various shows, they always mention that the mood and the spirit of being on Knight Rider set was very special and positive. How did you?
I would have to agree with that. You know, I guest starred on so many various shows, and after a while, you walk on the set the first day, and you know whether it's a happy set or not. You know, and every set has sort of a different dynamic, and so I was very conscious when I became a regular on a series to be welcoming to all the guest stars and make them feel at home, and try to be a good hostess to them.
So you also played alongside Edward Mulhern at Devon.
Yes.
Any words on?
He was a true gentleman, a true English gentleman. We had a lot of fun in the makeup room, and because he had a great sense of humor as well. And the two of us, I'll tell you something funny. David, as you know, always had that dark tan, you know. Well, I am naturally very fair-skinned. Edward was very fair-skinned, you know, our English coloring. And so they would put dark makeup on us so that all the skin tones would sort of blend together. So if I had a V-neck neckline, then if I left, I had a brown tan V here, or if I had sleeves to here, I would have brown hands, you know, to here, to where my wardrobe started, and we would have the biggest laugh over those every day when we left. So we had, Edward was he was wonderful.
It must be special after 40 years now, sitting here. It's the show's 40th anniversary, and being part of such a success.
And we have to take the time to give a tribute to Glenn Larson, because he created the show.
Exactly.
And he created sort of that, you know, morality play, good versus evil, where the good guys always won, you know. And we miss Glenn. I'm a good friend of Jeannie, his wife, and she's sweet. She's moved back to Oklahoma now. But at Glenn's funeral, I gave a eulogy, and David was unable to be there, so he sent me a note for me to read from him at Glenn's funeral. And so we're all grateful to Glenn, because there would not have been Knight Rider if not for him.
No, exactly. So Yeah. Any other thoughts, any scenes that you remember especially? You have talked about the scene where you drive kid. You talked about the first scene. Are there any other episodes and special scenes from episodes that
Well, I have to
stand
tell
out?
you a special thing that happened to me while I was at Universal. Lou Wasserman, who was chairman and CEO of MCA Universal, of the whole company, he made me mayor of Universal City while I was there under contract on the show. And so there were a lot of fun events going on during that time, whether it was ribbon cutting ceremonies or having various dignitaries come to visit the set and then take them on the Universal tour. And you know, it was a fun time.
Yeah. What did you get of feedback? How did your life change when you began on the show? Did you experience fans coming up to you?
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Oh sure. It was such a well-loved show. Yeah. And I get loads of fan mail to this day. You know, and they list various shows, of course. You know, everybody has their own favorite shows, whether they were a soap opera fan and watched me on General Hospital, or whether they were a sitcom fan, you know, Barney Miller and Night Court and Taxi and Three's Company and, you know, all those shows. But Knight Rider fans are diehard fans, and they are just special. And I almost feel like I have a whole support system in all of you guys. You know, it's a very special bond, and you can't say what makes that happen or what, you know. I don't think you can contrive it. Yeah. It's just a natural connection.
Yeah, and there really is a lot of support for the show and a lot of fans out there. Hopefully enjoying this conversation, enjoying knowing more about what really happened on Knight Rider back in the 80s. So and you were in some very memorable episodes. I think a lot of people would say that there are at least 2, 3, 4 fan favorite episodes among the episodes in season 2.
And then we did the 2-hour movies, you know, with the Garth character.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, can you talk more about?
Took it in a sort of a different direction.
Yeah. Can you talk more about those episodes? You had I think Goliath Returns, where you were trapped. Garth traps you and
Yeah, I had to suspend reality a little bit to see David playing Garth and to be convinced that this charming guy that I loved was the bad guy. Yeah. So it was a bit of a challenge. Yeah.
I can imagine.
I think David had a lot of fun with those episodes.
Yeah.
It's always fun playing evil. I played a lot of evil characters, and I mean, on General Hospital, I was an evil woman who wanted to blow up Mount Rushmore. You know, but I never minded playing evil if my character got her just reward in the end. Okay. If she was punished, and so that it didn't give the message that doing evil was good, or that anybody could get away with doing evil. You know, the message of the piece. So my role was integral in that and necessary in order to let the good guys win.
Yeah.
So as long as the message was that evil never pays in the end, because it's fun playing the bad one. Yeah.
You were okay with it. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So and here we are in Atlanta with also several kit replicas gathered.
And Michael Chaffee will be here.
Michael Chaffee, yeah.
Michael designed the kit car, and he also designed the Back to the Future car.
Yeah, he did.
And he had worked for Mattel. And I never met Michael until these events started happening, because he was never on set. He had already done his work before we started production.
Yeah.
So, and he has become such a good friend, because he comes to these things and it's like he's this hero, this god to all the guys building their cars, because he'll give these PowerPoint presentations about how to build it and all the wiring and all of that, and it's amazing. And he's the sweetest guy on the face of the earth, and everybody just loves him, and he's become, like I say, a very close friend. So he's here at this event, and the guys really look forward to meeting him.
Yeah, I do as well. I usually say that he's the guy who's created my first love.
I love that. That's great. I love that. Yeah. So you haven't met him yet?
No, I haven't met him yet.
Oh, you'll love him. You'll have such fun. We're gonna have a wonderful day tomorrow.
I look so much forward to it. Any last thoughts on being, a very popular person in, I think all over the world? You do a lot of
I do
charity.
a lot of charity events. I sing for so many things, and I'm always very gratified to be asked. I think if we can use whatever platform that we have in life to make a positive difference in the world, or to help people, or support a charity, I am always very eager to do that. I travel all over the world. I sing for a lot of events. I'm going to Istanbul next month, so to do an event. So anybody can always reach me at my website, just www.RebeccaHolden.com, and please write to me, and I'm thrilled to be asked.
You truly have a very active career still.
I'm shooting a Western month after next.
Okay. Tell us a bit more about that.
Well, I don't know who else they've cast yet, especially in the male lead. But my character is a sort of like in the Old West, sort of like Miss Kitty. On yes.
That's nice.
So it's a gem of a script. I was just delighted. I get so many scripts, and this is just a delightful little jewel. So I'm excited to shoot that one. I was just cast also in Vice Squad LA to play the mayor of Los Angeles. So that's a series that'll be shot in LA. Okay. So I just had finished a faith-based film that I won a couple of acting awards in the Malibu Film Festival. So that was a real honor. So I love working. I love working, and I love making a difference in the world. So
still very active.
Thank you.
And still beautiful.
Thank you.
And fantastic.
Thank you, Jacob.
And I will say I really appreciated this.
Well, it's a pleasure to visit with you, and you can contact me anytime if you think of more questions, and we'll keep going.
Thanks so much, Rebecca. Thanks for
my absolute pleasure.
Thanks for doing this.
Bless you.
Okay.
Bless you.
And to all you Night Rider fans out there, I hope you all get the idea that Southern Nights Atlanta is worth attending. Come meet the stars. They are so friendly, and we're all one big family. So
and know that you too can make a difference. Right?
Let that be the last word. Exactly.